This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, don't be alarmed that my voice is so deep and super sexy today. It happens about once a year when I get a sinus infection. I don't know why, but I just try to enjoy it. It hit me yesterday, and you just have to deal with my voice being super deep and sexy here on the Jack Murphy Podcast. John Garrett is joining us from Montgomery, Alabama live today. John, how are you?
Are you sick or you just got the crud?
I got a little sinus infection. You know how it goes. I think it'll be gone by tomorrow. Is that a new porn stash you got going there? Did you have that last time we did a broadcast?
No, I've been growing it. It's my hobby. People said I needed a hobby, so I'm growing a mustache.
Are you doing porn on the side now for extra money?
No, but I'm open for it. I'm a stay-at-home porn star.
Well, yesterday I had to report that the Orgy Dome at Burning Man had been destroyed, so you can't go there to do it. You'll have to do it somewhere else.
I'll manage. Somehow I will manage.
So I didn't want to talk about it yesterday on the podcast because I didn't know enough about it to talk about it at length or with any knowledge about what happened in Minneapolis, the shooting that went on. But I was watching the coverage yesterday, as I'm sure you watched some of it, and it just amazed me the difference between the people there on the ground, the politicians there on the ground, and ordinary people around the country. It just amazes me. Every time that this happens, they dance around who did it for 2 or 3 days, and then they'll begrudgingly admit that it was a trans person. But
they dance around it if it's not a white man. If it's a white man, they have breaking news immediately the second it happens.
And Gavin Newsom instantly said, we can't even get through a week of school without kids being killed. The Republicans are doing nothing about it. It's the guns. Well, this person had an assault weapon, an AR-15, I think, but he also had, he, whatever you want to call it, had shotguns and 2 pistols, and my understanding is used all of it. And, a couple of things. I have a picture I'm gonna put up here. This is the lieutenant governor.
This is the person that works and reports to Tim Walz.
This is Margaret Flanagan. She's a lieutenant governor, Native American activist, serving as the 50th lieutenant governor of the state of Minnesota. And just tell me what you think this photo, this picture, this T-shirt. What does it mean? Now, if you want to have a shirt that says protect trans kids, fine. But what does the big Bowie knife in the middle have to do with that? What does that mean?
Cut out the nonsense?
I'm not sure that's what it means. I think it means kill people that don't like trans kids.
Oh, because I got a completely different vibe off of it.
But I think those images and those messages go to some of these trans kids. And there have been I saw a list last night. There have been 8 instances where a trans person has attacked other people. And
yet they're the ones that say that they're under attack.
Right.
Many years ago, and this is the one that's always harkened back on, Matthew Shepard was killed back in the early 90s, and he was gay, and they called it a hate crime. But now everybody wants to act like their group is under attack. Who's attacking trans people? Show me a news report where a trans was just walking down the street, and it's usually some kind of Jussie Smollett situation where nobody else saw it. There are nobody attacking trans people.
Yeah. The only thing you see on the talk, I'm very active on the talk, John.
You are the talk of the talk.
I've got a lot of talk to get to later. But you'll see a lot of these trans people. Here's what they do. There's one guy that this is his whole thing. He's obviously a guy, and he dresses up like a woman. And he puts on makeup and everything. And he goes out to restaurants and he sits down and he has his camera set up like this. And the waiter comes up and goes, "Oh, what do you have, hon?" And he'll go, I'm I'm a woman. I prefer she.
Yeah, I've seen this.
You seen this guy?
Yeah.
And then he'll go, and I get really angry if you don't use the proper pronouns. And that's
like, hey, what's up, bro? I'm not a bro.
Yeah,
I'm a woman.
But it's his whole shtick. That's what he does. But
how come trans people have to make everything about their sexuality? Me as a white guy, I don't walk around espousing the joys of boobies.
Yeah.
That's not my whole thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy them. But with trans people, it's always about the things they do behind closed doors and how that's manifested in the clothing they wear and the operations they've gotten and the way they wear their hair. But it's all about sex. And to me, that's just a lot of sex talk.
Listen to the CNN reporter talking to the mayor of Minneapolis yesterday, how they dance around who this guy was.
When you talk about compassion, I don't want to tiptoe around the edge of this, but, you know, the shooter's name was in question, the gender of the shooter. No one's really sure what's going on there.
Yeah, we are.
5 years ago it was Robert, then a name change to Robin. Okay.
Yeah, so we know what that means.
This is being seized in all corners, as you can imagine, in all sorts of ways. And you know that, Mayor, and perhaps that's why when you spoke about this.
It's not being seized in all kind of ways. It's being seized in one kind of way. It was a trans person who attacked a bunch of kids praying in a Catholic school.
And I like how she says
so profoundly and powerfully, as you.
We have been told for the last 10 years that we must change who they are. If it's not Robert, it's now Robin. Fine. Now she's saying, well, there's some confusion whether or not they changed their name, this, that, and the other. No, this is what you asked for. This is what they said. Address me by my new name. And now they want to act like, well, that's confusing.
All right.
As you are even here now. But when you spoke about this today publicly, you voiced concern for the transgender community, for the community overall.
This is what got me.
Community.
You have the kids killed, 17 of them in the hospital, and he shows up and immediately starts talking about how we need to support the trans community. For what? None of them got shot and killed or wounded in the shooting yesterday. It was just one of them did the shooting. What support do they need?
And obviously, you chose to do that in that moment because you thought it was important. And I wanted to give you a chance to say why you felt it was important to do that in that moment.
Well, it's going to be good.
Obviously, I've heard about the rhetoric and the narrative that is being pushed out, but here's the thing.
Wait a minute. What rhetoric?
What rhetoric?
What narrative?
I know. They haven't.
It's just facts.
Anybody.
How about that for some commentary, Jack? You and I nailed that one.
Opportunity to villainize our trans community or any community has lost touch with a common humanity. We got to be operating not out of hate for any group, but out of a love for our children.
I hate murderer groups.
I'm be honest with you. I hate people that murder children.
Yeah, I hate mass shooter groups.
I don't care if they're trans or straight or yellow or orange or whatever. I hate.
What is this community?
I hate people that sexually abuse kids, and I hate people that kill kids.
Yeah, a lot of bad groups you're allowed to hate, but what is this community? Are you and I members of the straight community, and do we have meetings? And where are the meetings? At the old
I didn't get
VFW?
the memo. I didn't get the memo. I did not get the memo.
Community.
But it's just crazy. You know, a couple of days ago, before this happened, on a lighter note, we
need a little levity. Give me some levity.
I have a picture I'm going to put up here, but they had at the University of South Carolina Sunday night, the staff and students were ordered to shelter in place because there was an active shooter on the campus at the Thomas Cooper Library. And as it turned out, the guy didn't have a gun at all. He had an umbrella. And they shut down the whole campus because this kid's carrying an umbrella across the campus. And I got a security picture of it here I'm going to post. But they shut down this whole campus. They got like 30,000 students that were locked up there.
Hey, good. I'm all for it. More security, the better.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, I saw yesterday that the priest who runs this church, the Ascension Church there in Minneapolis, where this shooting took place, it's a church and school, had requested more security from the governor because it had threats, and Tampon Tim didn't give it to him.
See, it's so interesting. This week's been all about extra security with the National Guard and D.C. and all that. I'm all for extra security. Why would you be against that? And why is that a bad thing? And this is what happens. Tim Walz, who are these people pushing this agenda? What is this so important about this trans community that they're willing to let this kind of thing happen?
I don't know. It's I think it's almost like a type of mental illness that some of these kids have some mental problems, and then they pump them full of all these hormones and drugs, and it just makes it worse. And then, of course, if you're a man and you dress up like a woman and you take all these hormones, you're not gonna fit in. You're gonna be kind of the oddball out. And
okay, and here's the thing. I'm all for live and let live. Do what you got to do, whatever floats your boat. But why is the governor, so worried about this one group of people who do this to themselves?
Well, he's also worried about the Somalis that live there, too. We got to have their call to prayer every day,
right,
5 times a day, coming out of the loudspeakers for everybody to hear in Minnesota.
What is happening? The only thing I knew about Minnesota before this was...
I said this yesterday. It may be the most liberal state in America that you don't hear as much about. It's definitely in the top 5. I remember
when the Cunninghams were living there and Fonzie was living above the garage. Minnesota was the place to be. Weren't they in Minnesota?
I don't remember. They may have been in Milwaukee, but I lived in Minneapolis in the early 80s, and it was very, very, very liberal.
I was hoping my Happy Days reference would hit, but it missed.
I don't remember. I remember Happy Days, but I don't remember where it was set. Well, this will be, I hope, my last Cracker Barrel update. All right. I have 2 little things here for you. One,
did you eat at the Cracker Barrel? I've only been there a couple of times in my life.
Yeah, I used to eat at the Cracker Barrel. I said that I love the Cracker Barrel. I used to go probably a couple of times a month on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. Well, I had started eating healthier and I didn't go as much. I'd go like once every 3 months. But then COVID hit and I didn't go. And then after COVID, I went like twice and it just wasn't very good. The food wasn't as good. The service wasn't as good. That was their problem.
This whole thing, I think they're worried about. They're just trying to make it into a bigger Waffle House, really. They're just taking away all the panache that is.
I don't know. Here's listen to this. This is an inside Cracker Barrel employee wrote this letter and gave it to somebody anonymously. They didn't want to be identified about what's going on. Listen to this.
All right.
We have families to feed and bills to pay. She didn't just hurt the company and what it stood for, but she hurt her employees. That is from a staff member of Cracker Barrel, a current staff member. I will not be identifying her name. I will not be identifying what store she works in or what her position is. But the plot thickens with the Cracker Barrel drama of the rebrand and changing the concept of the store. And people are calling for a boycott. People are calling to oust the CEO, saying she's making terrible decisions.
Whoa.
But a lot of people in the comments have understandably said 2 things. A, the food quality is what has to be addressed, not the logo and the look of the store. The food quality has gone downhill. But 2, what this is doing to people who work there.
Yeah. So she's right. Quality of food and service have gone downhill.
They're acting like this is a piece of Americana. I mean, like, what does Cracker Barrel stand for? Here's what it stands for. A decent breakfast, a place where you can buy old-timey cream soda and paperweights and cinnamon candies.
It became, for a minute there, when people were traveling a lot, there were people. I can remember my father-in-law before he died years ago. They did a trip around the country, driving around the country, and he planned his trips around 2 things: Best Western and Cracker Barrel.
He got like the party.
He drove every day. He would drive 6 or 8 hours, and the stop would be at the Best Western. Mm-hmm. That's where he stayed 47 times on this trip across America, and then it had to be close to a Cracker Barrel because that's where he'd eat breakfast every morning. It's, kind of an upscale Waffle House. I think you're right.
It's a good food. I mean, I'd eat there like you said on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Go out there and me and a girlfriend from many years ago. That was our place. We kind of would go there.
Get
on
some
Sunday
sweet
morning.
loving Saturday night and take her out to the barrel on Sunday.
It would be like 6 o'clock. They'd open up and they'd have that fire going. It was like
Yeah.
January and the food was
smoke
good, and
smell.
coffee. But it's not like I have an emotional connection.
Well,
They had
I got to tell you, I was a pretty big fan of that Uncle Herschel's breakfast. And my favorite one, I don't know if that was Grandpa's or Uncle Herschel's, but it was the fried chicken with eggs and the hash brown casserole and the biscuits. My goodness, that was good.
because you can't get eggs anywhere else.
But it's different now, John. Here's a guy, he was on the talk yesterday. He went to Cracker Barrel. He decided he's going to go try the new refreshed menu and the refreshed decor, and he's going to see what it's like. Here's his situation.
Living like the Cracker Barrel way.
Good morning. Welcome to the new improved Cracker Barrel. Are you ready to order?
Yes. I think I would try the Mama's breakfast.
Ooh, we don't really want to assume the gender of the breakfast. Did you want to pick like a gender-specific breakfast? Maybe a he, she, or a they, them?
Do you have any of the new sides, like side orders?
Yes, sir. Right here on this side.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll get the Frederick Douglass Freedom Fries.
Perfect. You're gonna love those. And something to drink?
What kind of coffees do you have?
Oh, we have a brand new coffee menu. Would you like a Love Wins latte?
I love Wynn's latte. That's
I
great.
see who's attacking the trans community. It's Cracker Barrel.
That's right. It's Cracker Barrel. Well, John, I know you don't like to leave the house a lot, but Labor Day is coming up. Isn't that this weekend?
It is. 147 million Americans will be on the highway, and I'll be part of the remaining Americans who won't be.
I will not be on the highway. I will be at home for the entirety of the weekend, probably. But a lot of people, I live real close to two big lakes here in Charlotte, and
Anybody ever tell you to go jump in one of them?
yeah, my daughter has a little
Your
boat.
daughter tells you to go jump in the lake.
She's got a little pontoon boat over here on Lake Wiley, and we occasionally go over there with her. But listen, if you're planning to go to the lake and you're going to be on a boat, and maybe you're not experienced with the boat, but one of the rules of thumb with the boat that I was taught, I've had a bunch of boats, and one of the rules of thumb is never go faster than the speed at which you want to hit something.
That's good advice.
Because boats don't have brakes. You got to reverse, but never go faster than the speed you want to hit something. And I have a great video example of that today. And particularly, this always happens. There are some really entertaining channels on YouTube that you can watch. Haulover Inlet, Wavy Boats.
I've seen those. I love those.
It's great because Haulover Inlet it's like Ocracoke here at.
Is it down there like off the Keys, right?
Miami. It's where the Miami River runs into the ocean. So you get this current every day, twice a day when the tides go in, and it creates these freakish waves. But it's the way you have to go out of the ocean, and it just destroys boats. But they also have another one where the guy's at the Miami boat ramp, and you have these people that rent boats or they buy the boat. And, that's the thing about boats. You can go buy a $100,000 boat and have never been behind the controls before. You don't have to get a special license, or they'll just give you the key and say, go at it. And these people have no clue what they're doing, and here's a perfect example of that. Watch this.
Now, not every time should you get out there in the water should you full send it, but Googans, for whatever reason, just like to hit that throttle. But as most of you probably already know, there is a golden rule in boating. And that golden rule is never approach anything any faster than you're willing to hit it, which means around the dock, everything should be done pretty much with a soft touch, a light hand, keeping it easy and light around the docks. But our crew here is going to show you what happens when you don't do that around the dock.
All right. Here comes some help. This guy's going to come over and try to give him some help. They had it. I don't know why the woman jumped back on the boat. She was on the dock. She had the rope. She could have tied it up. Here comes the help.
Because she's a girl.
Here's where it gets interesting right here. Well, he's going to keep it from hitting.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
And this crew really gets lucky as they get about as close as you can get to flipping and capsizing a pontoon without actually making it.
This guy is great. He's got a couple of these channels. His name is Bronco Guru. And he does boats versus the boat ramp. It's pretty funny, too. I like his channel.
You mentioned the lake. Do you ever swim in rivers or lakes?
I don't anymore. I used to. I'll tell you why I don't now. It seems like every time I go swimming now, I get ear problems.
You know, the reason I don't go swimming in a lake, and I thought about this, I broke it down. Every substance in the world is in the lake. If you think of any substance,
it's true.
You know, urine, you know, waste, feces, alligator jizz, it's all in the water.
Not only that, but here, like Lake Norman, Lake Wylie, Lake Norman, you have a coal power plant there, so you have coal ash.
And forever chemicals.
And you have a nuclear plant on Lake Norman. Lake Wylie, same thing. You got a coal ash plant and you got a nuclear plant. So
I don't go in the water. I'm going.
We had a guy die in South Carolina. This was back in early July, I think. A kid went swimming in the lake, and there was some kind of weird plankton that was blooming, and he got a brain amoeba or something, and it killed him.
You know, here in central Alabama, it's all about lake life, and everybody goes to the lake. I do not get in the lake. I don't get in the river. I don't get in the ocean because of sharks, and I basically take showers and sit on YouTube. You wonder why I don't leave the house. There ain't no brain-eating amoebas in my living room, all right?
Well,
and I'm certainly not going to go in a lake.
Apparently, the water here in Charlotte must be loaded with them, because when you turn on the tap, it smells like chlorine coming out. I cannot drink the tap water in Charlotte. I have to run it through a filter system. It's just horrible.
I haven't drank tap water in years.
Yeah, I got one of those pure filters. Works pretty good.
I can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long. I can't help it.
Speaking of things that will kill you, I saw this interesting story yesterday, and I'd never thought about this before. But listen to what these guys say. You know, there are a lot of people now. In fact, it's grown rapidly. I had a friend passed away back in the spring of lung cancer. Never smoked a cigarette in his life. And there have been...
I noticed something. Every time we do a podcast with you, you mention 2 or 3 people who have died in your life.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get older. But this guy was younger than me. But if you go look at the statistics, there are a lot more people today that don't smoke who get lung cancer. And so, you know, you start thinking about what causes that, and they automatically say, it's not people smoking like you, it's air pollution that does it. But listen to this. I never thought about this. This is very intriguing.
Can you talk a little bit about the toxicity from the brake dust and the tires alone? You talked about that the other day.
Yeah, just the measurement of tires, which is easy to measure. The United States government did a study in 2009 to 2010, and they were like, where's all the rubber on the road? There's enough tires sold and worn out in 1 year that is 10 billion pounds of tread dust. Where is it? Because nothing on the road. So they got helicopters. They started doing a study going up. It took 1.5 miles to run out of the nanoparticles from tires alone. Wow. And that's rubber, cotton, epoxies, resins, plastics, metals, chemicals, and ceramics. These are real material things that are coming right off. You know, the tread of a truck is that wide, that thick, this big around, and there's 18 of them. Mm-hmm. Then you have all the cars, and then all the battery-powered cars are burning tires even faster now because they're heavier and they go a little faster and they stop. At any rate, that's just one thing. You got brake dust, which is heavy metals and ceramics. Worst ever. And we're breathing it. So thankfully, it's not just gloom and doom. Oh, wow, we're screwed, because you can't stop that stuff. Not at this point. But we do now know how to get it out. So that's a master key to getting this crap out of your body. And when you get it out, you know it. There's not a question of a doubt.
Isn't that
it is
crazy?
left your body.
I never thought about that before, but you buy a set of tires, you go down the road. There's no, sometimes you'll see a recap tire, but those little particles going up in the air, and we're breathing all that crap all the time.
Everything's going to get you. Everything's going to get you.
I just had never thought about how much rubber hits the road and winds up in the air.
So which is it? Are people living longer, or are people living less long because there's so much?
People are living longer, but their quality of life is not as good.
So are you one of the people that's like, when my health
fails,
I'm time to tap out?
I don't want to be laying around. No,
I don't either.
I don't want to be stuck in a nursing home somewhere.
Do you have a plan? Like if you
really, really, really hot nurse that's taking care of me, giving me sponge baths, then I might reconsider it.
Do you have a plan? Like if you were to become incapacitated and you can't communicate, does your loved ones?
I have a living will.
Okay.
Living will just means that if I become incapacitated and there's no hope of recovery, they'll unplug me.
All right.
They'll unplug. What about you? They'll just find you dried up in your Cadandra will come over and knock on the door. John.
Here's the thing. There's stories about people who live alone. Who'll have a stroke, and then they'll sit there for 10 days and starve to death.
Yeah. And they don't. Sometimes you'll hear about them. They don't find the body till a year or two later because they turn the utilities off and they don't have any relatives. The house is paid for, and they just sit there.
Or they have automatic bills, and it just keeps coming out of their checking account. So they just, if they got enough money, they can go a couple of years before they bounce a check.
That's just crazy, isn't it? I'll tell you a weird one I saw the other day. There was some guy who he was a sailor. This happened a long time ago, but it was one of those stories on Facebook, but they had a picture of it. He's on a sailing boat, and he's sailing around the world or something, and he never showed up anywhere. He disappeared. And a year later, another sailor spots this boat just drifting in the open ocean, sails up to it, gets on board. The guy slumped over the table like this, mummified. He had a stroke or something and died there at his table, and had just been drifting around out in the ocean, and the salt water had kept him skin,
Dang.
The picture is very creepy.
This is a very morbid episode of the Jack Murphy podcast.
And I like it. I might do more of this.
Yeah. Well, this is real talk.
All right. So I love, I don't know about you, but I seem to love Nick Cage movies. What about you?
I was thinking about him yesterday. I like the big ones. I'm not one of these Nick Cage fanatics who likes all the B movies.
Well, he has done a lot of B movies. But he seems to be able to pull off just about any role.
And he does, because he has he's very spendthrifty, so he buys things and has to do movies.
Yeah, he's bankrupted. I've read this story about how many properties he owned and everything. And he's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't get any of that Coppola money.
That also means he's Talia Shire's nephew.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, as much as I like him, I'm not certain that I like this new movie he's got coming out. Nick Cage is going to play Joseph, the father of the Lord Jesus Christ, in a new movie called The Carpenter's Son, but it's a horror film.
Oh, boy.
I don't like it when they do that. I don't like, it's like I said yesterday, that Burning Man. One day, they had the flood last year. They had the wind this year. One day, the earth's just going to open up and swallow up all those heathens into the bowels of the earth. But
what about Nick Cage? He needs the money. Do you think he should go bankrupt, or do you think God gives him a pass?
You don't have to do these kind of... First of all, it's based on the Gospel of Thomas, which is not an actual gospel. It's been proven to be a fake gospel.
Proven by who? People who don't believe in it?
No, scholars. In other words, all the books of the Bible now we can trace back. We have copies from either the dead. Yeah, we have Dead Sea Scroll copies. Like the Book of Isaiah is almost identical in nature. And
so, do you think everybody who is not a Christian is going to go to hell?
Well, I know that. I know that Jesus said he's the way, the truth, and the light. Nobody comes to the Father except by me, and that's pretty clear to me.
Okay, so do you think
but
everybody who's not a Christian?
But let me finish. But the church teaches that the Catholic Church teaches that if you never heard of Jesus or the gospel or whatever, and you lived an upright life, that it is possible for you to be saved.
So there is kind of a back door into the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, you might be having some purgatory time, but there is.
Yeah, like my mom used to say that you might go to heaven, but you'll have to clean toilets and do menial work, but you'll be in heaven, but you'll be at the bottom.
Yeah, and there's rewards. It talks about rewards. You might be saved, but lose your reward in some way,
like a Visa card.
But my friend Kyle and I used to talk about that. We'd say, if I'm just sweeping up in heaven, that's I'm emptying the trash cans. As long as I get there, that's fine.
You may be.
Yeah, and that'll be fine. But anyway, I got a clip from this movie, this Nick Cage movie, where he plays Joseph. Let's take a look. Right. Flies. Hear the fly noise? They always have the flies when there's demons, right?
Looks good. I'm gonna have to check that out. You think that's his real hair?
I doubt it.
No.
I think he's bald now, isn't he?
I don't know. I don't judge.
But anyway, Jesus is played by Noah Jupe from A Quiet Place 1 and 2, one of the dumbest movies ever made.
And, your boy Mel Gibson is doing a sequel to The Passion of the Christ.
I'm The Resurrection. I'm really looking forward to that because Mel stays pretty true to the book, and he makes a good movie. The man makes a good movie.
I'm surprised they were able to get Jim Caviezel. He was in Frequency in 2000, which was a great movie.
And Jim Caviezel was great in that first Mel Gibson Passion of the Christ movie. And
I never saw that. I never saw it.
Oh, you got to see it.
I mean, I had it. My second wife.
If you see that, you might change yourself and not get left behind. If you see that, it might make you appreciate him more.
All right, I might check that out this weekend.
It's. I'm going to tell you what. It is hard to watch.
I don't like subtitles. Why couldn't they just make it in English?
Because he spoke Aramaic.
Understood, but
Mel Gibson wanted to make it, and it was a movie for the whole world.
Yeah, but okay, so was Hogan's Heroes, but they didn't make the Führer speak in German. They knew that it was just going to take away from it, so they made him in English.
I don't know. Made it look realistic to me. I liked it. I'll tell you,
Mel Gibson should have done like Hogan's Heroes.
Have you watched The Chosen?
No.
Check out The Chosen. It's really good too. It's a series about the life of Jesus, and this company called Angel Studios does it. They did the series, and it's available everywhere. They have an app and everything. But
is Nicolas Cage in it?
No.
Oh. Then I may not want to watch it.
Jesus is really good. I think there's 5 seasons, and they're getting ready to release a movie, or maybe they already have, where it's crucifixion time. I haven't.
When I was a kid, they did the Judgment House.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last room, you come face to face
like Halloween,
with Jesus.
like Halloween. Yeah.
And in the last room, you come, and the guy who plays Jesus comes up and puts his hands on your face, and this. There was this guy that they got when I was in school, and he was like a druggie, but he looked so cool. He had that Jesus look and long hair and a beard.
Jesus.
And like he put his hands on his face, and his hands smelled like weed.
He's definitely getting left behind.
But I was moved.
Do you remember
wrapped up in the robe and everything, and that whole thing?
Did you ever meet Chaz that worked for me for a while?
Yeah, I worked with Chaz, a black guy.
Yeah.
Well,
Chaz, I sent Chaz one year to Asheboro, and they had the Hell House in Asheboro, and he went like the night that it opens, and he's got a microphone and everything, and this one, man, it was like one of those primitive Baptist churches or whatever, but they had the abortion room, and I mean, it was just crazy, the stuff they had.
That sounds like Funhouse.
And Chaz would be, he would be terrified. He'd go, oh my God. He was funny.
He was one of those.
He was funny. Well, I know that any man who's ever been married has wanted to do this at some point, John.
Drive off a cliff?
You've pretty much. Listen to this story. 45-year-old Ryan Borgwald just was sentenced to 89 days in jail this week. He's a dad from Wisconsin who faked his own death, abandoned his wife and kids to go be with his internet mistress in Eastern Europe.
That's my guy.
He agreed to a plea deal.
Smart man.
Here's what happened. He told his wife he was going to go kayaking out at the lake. And so
he didn't even have a kayak.
No, he had a kayak, and he staged it on the lake. So it was found, floating around out there with no paddle.
So he staged his own death.
Yes, and then he paddled an inflatable raft to shore, rode 70 miles on an e-bike, took a bus to Detroit, then to Toronto, and hopped 3 flights to Paris, Asia, and then to Uzbekistan, where he met this woman that he'd been talking to on the internet.
She must have sent some hot pics.
Oh, I'm guessing she really did. And then they moved. There's another country around there called Georgia. It used to be Soviet Georgia. It's just Georgia now. So they moved to Georgia, and somehow he got found, and the FBI arrested him and brought him back because he had the reason they brought him back, he also had a life insurance policy that had been collected on. So it was insurance fraud.
Well, it ain't like the olden days where a guy could just get tired of his family and move 10 miles away and never run into him again.
Yeah. Well, we used to hear that story, but he went out for a pack of cigarettes and never came back.
Right. Now they can track him down.
When I got 27, I found out he was just living 20 miles away in Rome.
It's like when my mom and dad got divorced, we saw him every other weekend. And when you were 5 years old, you thought he lived 10 million miles away. As I went and visited him as an adult, I was like, you live like 4 miles from us.
Right.
You might as well have been living in another continent.
Hi, I'm Hillary Clinton, and I'm a dandelion.
Yeah, I found her. She's right here.
So I saw the most amazing picture. I'll post the picture here so you can look at it. This is a container ship that belongs to the United States Coast Guard. They sent a bunch of military ships down off Venezuela because I didn't know this, but they say Venezuela has become one of the ways that Maduro is staying in power is he's letting the drug cartels pretty much use Venezuela as a drug waypoint for drugs going all over the world. So they're able to fly them directly in or bring boats directly into Venezuela and then ship them to Europe and the U.S. and everywhere else. Listen to this drug bust they made. This ship came into Port Everglades, Florida this week, and it had illegal drugs on board valued at $473 million. 76,000 pounds of coke. 76,000 pounds of cocaine and 15,000 pounds of marijuana.
Is that a lot?
That is a lot. Well, look at the picture. It's a container ship. The whole deck is loaded with cocaine.
Wow.
23.
I don't do that drug, but I'm sure a lot of viewers are salivating right now.
Yeah. There's on YouTube, there's a great little documentary about a place called the Azores, which I'd heard of the Azores, but I didn't know anything about it. But the Azores are these beautiful little islands off the coast of Africa, and it's like a subtropical climate, but the water's beautiful, very lush, beautiful, and I think it belongs to Portugal. And so they were doing like tours of the island, interviewing people who, we came here to visit one time and I just never wanted to leave. I moved my business here and I fly to Europe. So people just love living there for the lifestyle and the beauty and everything. But the guy said, but it got ruined about 5 years ago. And what happened was a big boat full of cocaine shipwrecked off the coast of the Azores, and hundreds of bales of cocaine washed up. And he said every other person on the island had a bale of coke. And he goes, there was about 5 years where everybody on the island was just raging around on coke or crack.
Geeked up.
And he said, then they were all addicted to it, and it ran out. There wasn't any more, and everybody went nuts.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's a sad story.
That's like when I was a kid in Cedartown, where I grew up. It's a true story. You can look it up on the internet. There's a thing called a Cedartown pot plane. So one night, there was a guy, a truck driver, was going down Highway 278 between Cedartown and Birmingham, and he saw this plane, this big plane that was just like right over the trees and disappeared. He thought it had crashed. So he stops. He got on the CB. That was back when the cops monitored the CB. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He gets on the CB and he says, hey, I think a plane just crashed out here at Treat Mountain. So all the sheriffs from our county and the county over, they get out there. Well, the guy's going up this dirt road, and here comes this big old U-Haul truck barreling down the dirt road at 2 o'clock in the morning and nearly runs him over. So he stops it and takes it into Buchanan, Georgia, which was a little town right down the road from us, and gets a warrant to open the back, thinking it's a moonshiner. That was what he thought. He opens the back, and there's 6 guys sitting on 4,000 pounds of weed in the back of this U-Haul. These guys had hired a guy from our town with a bulldozer, and they had leased this piece of property, and he goes out there and just bulldozed the trees and made a runway that did this. It went, and it was like 1,500 feet long, and they landed a 4-engine prop plane using a generator with some light bulbs there. And it looked like somebody just set it down with a helicopter. Well, a couple of the guys in the back of that truck had previous felonies. Surprise, surprise.
Surprised to hear that. One of their first rodeo.
One of them had some blow, some coke on him. And so he started talking. And he said, oh, well, we weren't the only truck there. There were 8 trucks. And they were all going to, and so he spilled the beans. Well, they raided these hotels in Atlanta. They got about 3/4 of the people. But the next morning when the cops go out there to this place at daylight, there's pot and hash laying everywhere from them unloading it in the middle of the night and the bags breaking open and everything. But I'll never forget, for about 2 years after that happening, everybody around Cedartown would go, hey, man, you want to buy some weed? I got some off that airplane. It's good stuff.
Is that right?
Straight from Columbia. It's a real good stuff. Right off that plane, man.
It's good stuff.
We got out there before the cops. We got it if you want some.
It's not the bad stuff. It's the good stuff. I sold you the bad stuff last time, but this is the good stuff.
It's good stuff right from Columbia, man. We got it right.
Good
and
stuff.
So anyway, the plane, they can't take the plane off, John, and it's a fairly valuable plane. It's a 4-engine prop plane that could be used for cargo or whatever.
It's stuck there still, you mean?
No. So they had a security guard that guarded it 24 hours a day because everybody wanted to go out there and see the Polk County pot plane, right? So a Georgia state legislator, I don't remember the guy's name, he bought the property and the plane and got some movie producer to agree to do a movie called the Polk County Pot Plane. And they lengthened the runway, fixed the plane up, and part of the plot was they took the plane off. They flew it out of there. May have been the worst movie ever made. You can look it up on the internet and find
that. I will watch.
It was a horrible movie, but they actually flew the plane out of there, and it was a crazy, crazy story. Well, what are you doing the rest of the day, John?
I have a date with my eyeballs.
Oh, I thought you were.
My eyelids. I'm going to take a little nappy. I've been up. My dogs woke me up late last night. I just pulled an all-nighter. So I've been up since like 10:30 last night. So one of those late nights, I'm going to take a little nappy.
I didn't sleep very good because of this sinus infection, but I'm feeling better now. I'm recovering now.
We sound like a couple of old folks talking about how we can't sleep.
Yeah.
We're all sick.
Anyway, thank you for being part of the Jack Murphy podcast today. Like the video if you would, and if you do us a favor, subscribe to the channel. We're at 200.
Where are you on subscribers?
203 subscribers now.
I noticed you're starting to get a lot of views on some of your shows. Not the ones that I appear on, but the other ones.
It's so weird. You never know what there's an algorithm, and I just saw a thing about Mr. Beast, and he supposedly has the algorithm figured out more than anybody in the world. And he says there's only one other person who knows everything about YouTube that he does, and he's a Russian, and nobody knows his name, and he only does videos wearing a mask because he doesn't want anybody to know who he is.
Maybe we'll get our numbers up if we do wear a mask and aren't yours. You might need to get one of those N95 masks you keep hawking up.
Maybe I should. Anyway, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Jack Murphy Podcast. All right.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops, and tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.